you're dragging me along like you do, like you do. And then you switch up with no warning, and you kiss me like you want it. How rude, how rude. But I kinda like it anyways. I don't mind if this is gonna take a million days. I know you'll come around to me eventually. If you sit back, relax, enjoy my company, my company. Once you know what my love's gonna feel like, nothing else will feel right. You can feel like moonbeam ice cream, taking off your blue jeans, dancing at the movies. Cause it feels so mystical, magical, oh baby. Cause once you know my love is so mystical, magical, oh baby. Cause once you know my little heart to give, baby, I wanna give you the world. Not saying you gotta chase me, but I wouldn't mind it if you gave me just a little bit of something we can work it with. But all you do is push me out. But I like it anyways, cause I think I'm getting closer to you every day. I know you'll come around to me eventually. Just sit back, relax, enjoy my company. Oh baby, trust me. Once you know what my love's gonna feel like, nothing else will feel right. You can feel like moonbeam ice cream, taking off your blue jeans, dancing at the movies. Cause it feels so mystical, magical, oh baby. Cause once you know my love is so mystical, magical, oh baby. Cause once you know mystical, magical, oh baby. It's mystical, magical.
I could point fingers at everyone else, but sooner or later it lands on myself. My mistakes have made mistakes of their own. Doubling down like it's second nature. I beat you to it. I was my favorite hater, but I'm tired. Now I'm flirting with hope. I was the king of pain. I always found a new way to complain. And they say, when you're gonna change, honey? When you're gonna face it? Why you gonna waste it? I'm sorry to myself. we're far. Can you blame me? I'm a California girl with a southern heart. And I don't know your first or your last name, baby. If you're going home to a hometown lady, way you grip the can, I can tell you're just my type. You like working with your hands till they're covered in grease, fixing up your Bronco in the Tennessee heat. Something dirty on my mind, you got dirt in your jeans. Well, I'm a little broken, baby. Could you work on me? Could you work on me? Oh yeah. Well, my heart's been through the mud. Couple assholes before you kinda fucked me up. What's the worst that can happen from a little fun? I'm a real smart girl who likes getting a little dumb. I don't need to know your first and last name, baby. If you're going home to a hometown lady, longhorn on your buckle, I can tell you're just my type. You like working with your hands till they're covered in grease, fixing up your Bronco in the Tennessee heat. Something dirty on my mind, you got dirt in your jeans. I'm a little broken, baby. Could you work on a body, need a song to make it feel brand new? I'm a couple shots deep and a couple screws loose. Something dirty on my mind, you got dirt in your jeans. I'm a little broken, baby. Could you work on me? Could you work on me? Could you work on me? I'm a little broken, baby. Could you work on me?
Okay, good evening, everyone. So if you can hear me, see me loud and clear, type 3 in the chat. 3. Sun. Okay, hello. Hi, Helen. Hi, Bihui. Hello, hi, Bowling. Cannot. Okay, can sing. Bihui. Wow, a lot of all our mentees are very good. Thank you so much for the support. Okay, hi, you guys. Hello. Hi, Cici. Okay, good evening. Welcome to the last day of sharing for Keep Reading or 越来越好 2025. So today this particular book will be the last book for the year already lah. Okay, and then we're not sure whether we're gonna have more books next year, hopefully. Okay, right. So today I'm gonna share one very interesting book with you guys, with all of you, which I think it can be very closely relatable, okay, to each and every one of us, regardless of which life stage you are at right now, how many or how much money that you have made, how much money that you have invested, how much money that you have saved, okay, regardless, right? But I think this particular book is suitable for all of us, okay, at any point of time in our life, right? Because what I noticed and what I realized after reading this book is that a lot of concept, a lot of things that mentioned by the author in the book, it can be applied not only in our daily life personally to deal with our personal finances, right? It can also be used in investing, okay? It can also be used in parenting, right? A lot of different aspects. Okay, and this particular book, surprised to me that I found out after I bought, okay, when I read it and then I do a little bit more research about this particular book and also this particular author, okay, this book just got published last month. Okay, so everyone just type in the chat, hot. Okay, very hot from the oven, very new. Okay, just being published last month only. Okay, and I very glad that I somehow picked up this book, right? Okay, so the universe, or actually sent me the energy or the signal to actually pick this book among the other books that I came across. right? Very new book, and then I found out it's a very, very good read. It is very interesting, right? And today I'm going to share with you from my personal perspective, right? After reading this book, after relating, doing some reflection, and also some, reminder about myself, right? Based on my past experience, currently what I'm doing right now, on my money, right? I do reflect along the way when I'm reading this book. Okay, so I'm just going to share with you from my personal point of view, okay, what I've learned, what I got, so-called, what are the distinctions, okay, that I got from this particular book, so that you're able to take it home, right, and also apply it on your own and see which one fits. Okay, right? So if you are ready, type 8 in the chat. Yeah, a very interesting book. Right. So a lot of times, right, we usually talk about making money, generating wealth, okay, saving money, or invest the money that, our hard-earned money, in order to make more money. Yes or no? Type in the chat. Right? Especially in this community itself, we talk about a lot about money, okay, right? Especially on how to actually generate it, how to actually save it, how to actually fully utilize it or invest it in order to actually make more money. Okay, but how many of you, right, after learning and also applying in terms of generating money, being it from a passive way or through investment or through passive income or through option, stocks, ETF, or your active income or your businesses, okay, after you make that money, right, have you ever thought of what's the ultimate thing that you want to do after you achieve certain things or while you are making this money? If you have really have a deep thought about it, okay, type 1 in the chat. If, that thought is just very, very blurry, okay, half, 0.5, you can also let me know. Or none at all, 0, you can type 0 in the chat, where you just want to make as much money as you can. Okay, anyone have really think about it, think through it? Only Bihui, okay, right? It's totally fine, right? And we are here tonight, right, just to, share different perspective and see what actually fits you, right? We got no judgment at all, because the decisions that you and me make individually are all, are very personal and very close to ourselves kind of decision, right? Okay. Okay, got time to laze around. Okay, very good. 0.5, 0.5. Okay, so only very, very minority of all of us here, right, have a really detailed run through in our mind in terms of after we generate this money, after we save, and after we invest, right, what do we do next, right? And the question that we need to ask ourselves always, right, being it you generate that money, you save that money, you invest that money, or even you spend that money, the question that we need to ask ourselves, right, is what is next? Okay, because do you agree with me, where a lot of people, including myself, a lot of us, a lot of people like to see our wealth, our net worth, our portfolio value, our bank account, the numbers to continue go up and up and up and up, and hopefully we pray that it won't come down. Yes or no, in the chat? We only want it to go up, not come down. Yes or no? Okay, right? But we have to realize, apart from generating, saving, and investing, yes, that will actually help that number goes up. But we also eventually need to spend it, correct? Being it to sustain our life, right? To let us enjoy our life, or to, to generate more value. Okay, we eventually need to spend that money, and the value will eventually has to come down along the way. Okay, right? But if a lot of people caught in the cycle of wanting to have the number continue to go up and up and up. It's just like, okay, it's just like when you buy your first luxury watch. After you own it, you start to think of what is the next watch to go for. Or after you buy the first luxury bag, okay, what is your next bag that you want to go for? Or after you buy your first car, you start to think, hey, what is the next car that I want to buy? Okay, we always want to go for the better one. Agree? If you agree, type 1. We cannot help ourselves but to continue think about what is next. Right? Okay, and the process, okay, in this book itself, it mentioned that this process, which is very natural, emotional, so-called phenomena, okay, is driven by dopamine. How many of you know what is dopamine? Dopamine type, if you know what is dopamine type 2. Okay, it's a chemical reaction in your brain, okay, that drives you to want to achieve more, and more. Okay, the desire. Okay, right? So in this book, it actually gives a very interesting example where Will Smith, I believe you guys know Will Smith, most of you, right? So-called celebrity, Will Smith, he once mentioned, okay, becoming famous, it feels awesome. But being famous, already famous, it feels okay. But losing it feels miserable. It actually applies the same in terms of us accumulating wealth. Okay, we enjoy accumulating wealth. We enjoy to see the number goes up, but we do not want the numbers to come down. And to a certain extent, certain people don't even want to spend it, or they don't even want to utilize it after they invest, after they make money from the stock market. How many of you are like that? If you're like that, type me in the chat. Like, for my portfolio hit 100,000 already. I want to go 200,000. After you hit 200,000, you want to go 400,000. After 400,000, you want to go 1 million. After you hit 1 million, you want to go for the second million. But without thinking, right? After you generate 1 million, 2 million, what you're going to do? Okay, right? If you notice yourself having this thinking over and over and over again, right? You're probably being caught in this dopamine effect cycle. Okay, right? And the scary part is this. The scary part is this. When you realize you are in that cycle, most of the time, you are already in the situation where the money is controlling you instead of you controlling the money. If you think it's scary, type scary in the chat. You just want to chase and chase and chase and chase without really understanding what is next. What do you want it for? Okay, right? Very scary, right? We do not want money to control us. We want to be the other way around. Okay, so how many of you heard about this statement? Money cannot buy happiness. And how many of you agree? If you agree, type 1. If you don't agree, type 2. No right or wrong, let me see. I just want to understand your perspective. Okay, if you agree money cannot buy happiness, you type 1. If you think money can buy happiness, type 2. Okay, right? Now, no right or wrong, but in this book itself, right, the author realized those people that they think and they agree or they perceive as money cannot buy happiness is because they do not have enough money. from the author. Okay, right? But he did mention money can actually buy happiness with condition. Now, everyone type in the chat condition. Okay, money can actually buy happiness, but with condition. So the condition is, before we talk about money, we ourselves as a human being, we need to be happy first. And the money that we are talking about here is not 1 million, it's not 1 billion, it's not 1 trillion. It can be $1, it can be $10, it can be $100. As simple as that. Okay, but as long as you are already a happy person, money can make you happier by spending money. But if you are a person that is not happy on everything, almost everything, okay, even though you have $1 billion, if you have $1 trillion, if you are an unhappy person, that probably not gonna help. So far, can you understand? If you can understand, give me an okay in the chat. Okay, so later we'll delve more into this particular book. And this particular book that I'm going to share with you today is The Art of Spending Money. Okay, and the author mentioned spending money is actually not a science. It's not something that you can mathematically calculate, even though money is calculatable. Okay, but spending money is actually very subjective. Okay, right? So it's like the the author actually mentioned that since it says money can actually buy happiness, then do we really need a lot of money? Or is this book really for people that has a lot of money already? Then they can be happier. Okay, but in fact, the author, Morgan, he personally mentioned this book is actually more important for those who are still in a low to middle income earners, right? You are, living moderately, okay? To really look into this book, right? To really understand how to actually spend little money that we have right now, even though it's not much, okay? But spending it right so that we won't fall for, the so-called rat race. Okay, and especially if we are already in the rat race, how do we come out from it? Okay, so this particular gentleman is the author where he actually wrote a lot of good books. Okay, so these are the few that is very significant. And I think last year, I actually shared about this particular book also from him, same as ever, but in Chinese version. Okay, how many of you know this particular book called The Psychology of Money? Or if you read it, type let me know, type yes in the chat. It's also a very, very good book. So this particular, the first book, The Psychology of Money, actually share first in terms of how to actually think about money, how to actually make money, how to actually save money, how to actually invest. Okay, but this book, okay, is the next level of it. Okay, apart from making, saving, investing, how do we spend and how do we make our life better? Okay, so after I read this book, right, I took I think 2.5, 3 days to really go through the entire book, right, for every chapter. And just to share with you all, this is one of the very few books that I really finished it all. Okay, and in a short period of time, which is really, really a good book. And I strongly encourage you to go and grab one copy, right? Being it e-copy or physical copy, go and have a look, grab one, read it, because what I realized is that at different stage of life, right, you read, even though you read the same topic, right, you have different realization, you have different distinction. Okay, being it you are just new to the society, started to make money, okay, or you're already entering into so-called middle age. Okay, you already have your career, you have your family, you have your kids, and how do you think about spending money, right? So this particular book is, to me, right, the moment when I read, right, is more like a reflection of myself, right? For me, with the relationship with money, okay, how do I mean my spending behavior, how do I treat or how do I feel when I spend that particular money on certain things, certain experience, being it anything. Okay, right? So sometimes in the book itself, I also find certain affirmation on certain things that I think that I've done right, which brings me where I am right now. Okay, so a lot of times it actually serves as a reminder on how we think about money, especially during spending money, this particular topic. Okay, right? And then it actually helped me to be more aware in terms of my emotion when I'm spending money or when I'm about to make certain purchase. Okay, so when we do that, right, we able to be more self-aware, okay, and then knowing what to do best at that point of time, when spending this money or making certain purchase, or even though donating away, or use this money to actually invest or do other things. Okay, what will be the best, right, decision to make at that point of time, regardless whether it will be a good decision or wrong decision. Okay, but at that point of time, what's the most suitable decision to make when we deal with money? Okay, so in the book itself, it actually mentioned money can serve as two different things, and he categorized into basically two major aspects. Okay, so one of it is we can actually use money as a tool. Okay, we heard about it a lot, right? Where we use money as a tool, just like option. Okay, we use it, is there, right? How do we want to use it? It brings different impact. So money can actually become a tool for better life, right? Or some people, or probably you or me, sometimes fall under this category, where we use money or when we spend money, we actually use it, okay, as a yardstick or a measurement of our success or status. How many of you agree? If you agree, type 1. Let's be honest, come on. Sometimes when you buy that thing, or when you go for a luxurious vacation, whatsoever, it can be anything, right? It probably the most priority. I'm not saying that you don't want to enjoy, okay? The priority sequence sometimes can be wrong. Sometimes when you buy certain things, you just want to prove something to someone that probably don't care. Okay, without realizing one. Okay, and when I reflect back, I did have decisions like this. Okay, right? I'm very honest, yeah. But right now, I can be more aware in terms of when I plan, I want to buy this thing. Okay, what is it really for? Is it for, as a yardstick, or is this gonna really make my life better in the sense that me personally, the people that I love, the people that I care, my family, my friends, my partners, all this. Okay, so I will be more aware in terms of when I use money, I will tilt more towards the left side. Okay, which brings my willingness to spend even more. Okay, so I can follow, you can follow, give me a 2. Okay, and usually how we spend money, how we spend money, it actually tells a lot about us, Okay, how we spend, the spending behavior actually tell a lot about us in terms of our personal behavior and also our past life experience. Okay, give you a context. I heard this story before where when this person traveled, he always want to travel business class. Okay, right? So during his uni life, right, he always share with his friends in terms of whenever they go for family vacation, the family, including him himself, right? He always travel business class. Okay, and the moment where they want to go for travel during uni days, he insists to travel in business class together with friends. Okay, and you know lah, uni time where got money? Okay, that time he got, you know, so-called boycott lah, saying that he's very egoistic lah, want to show off lah. But his close friend actually realized this is the way he being brought up. Since young, he travel business class all the time. So that become in his conscious or subconscious mind, that has become a norm. How many of you understand what I'm saying? If you understand what I'm saying, give me a treat. It's like, hey, take business class to fly anywhere is normal, because he is being brought up that way. Okay, so his life experience is different. That makes his spending behavior, the way he thinks about traveling, different. Okay, right? And there was one. Okay, later I got one example scenario to show you the difference in terms of the other side of spectrum. Okay, the other side of spectrum is that there's another guy, okay, that likes to travel. I mean, here are two different people, but both of them like to fly business class. Okay, both of them like to fly business class, and then the first guy, the background, the life experience is like this. He was from a very poor family, never take a flight before. Okay, but when he did a business, okay, suddenly the business boomed and got bought over. Okay, and he achieved overnight success just like that. Okay, and he started to fly here and there, all on business and first class. But his intention is to actually pay back what he didn't have chance to experience when he was young. Revenge, like Roy mentioned. Okay, right? Revenge. The other guy, he always fly business class, but his intention is he value time and convenience. He want to skip the long queue, right? He want to have conducive area when he's flying so that he have quality rest. The moment where he land, he can start to be productive again. Okay, and he also value private space more. Okay, now these two guys, they like to travel business class, but again, when this question prompt to us, whether when you fly from being it a 3 hours flight, 4 hours flight, or 13 hours flight, flying business class, is it worth it? What do you guys think? Let's not talk about the money, because both of them pay the same flight ticket. Thank you. Thank you, Hong Wei. The answer actually, it depends. It depends, right? Because it depends what you value the most. Okay, what is the reason behind? Okay, because every single one is different, where what I value and what you value can be completely different. Okay, what I think is reasonable, it can be totally doesn't make sense to you on the same subject, on the same topic. Agree? Okay, right? So it actually depends, right? It is very personal. Okay, and we only able to define or the behavior itself, being it buying luxury watches, buying good cars, flying business class, okay, or dine at a so-called luxury restaurant, compared to a hawker stall. Okay, the behavior only makes sense when we have enough information. Just give you an example. Just now, the uni guy. He was brought up every time fly business class. That's the norm. Okay. But before we know that piece of information, we might think, hey, you uni student, you want to fly business class for what? Right? But after we know that additional piece of information, do you think it makes more sense now? Is the way he being brought up, right? The standard is every time, everywhere they fly, business class. Okay, right? So when you have sufficient information about the behavior, then it will totally make sense. Being it is spending just a little bit of money or spending tons of money on the same thing. Okay, for example, just like Lego. My brother likes Lego. I mean, both of them. But to me, I cannot find the joy of buying and playing Lego. That's just me. Right? It's nice to see, nice to look at, but I really don't enjoy sitting there, putting the bricks together. That's just me. Okay. Right? And I give you another example where last year, okay, I brought my wife to China for travel, and then we went to this temple, okay, where the temple have a corner where you can sit down, and then we do, how to say, 抄经 ah. How anyone can actually translate for me, or if you get what I mean, give me a 3 in the chat. I mean, sit down there quietly, very zen, 抄经. Scripture, I think. Thank you. Right, 抄经, right? So my wife loves it. Okay, she can sit there 3-4 hours, just repeat, and repeat, right? And then when I was there, I tried doing the same thing as her. I want to accompany her, okay, quality time. So I sit down there, half an hour, I cannot tahan already. I cannot sit down quietly. That's me. Okay, I copy, halfway, half an hour, I cannot tahan already. Then I start to pick up my phone. I do what I like to do, which I help her snap good photos, good video. That's what I enjoy. Okay, so different people is just different. All right. Okay, so making money can be science. Okay, it can have certain formula. It's just like when you invest in a good company, what is the parameter that you need to look at, right? It can be scientific, it can be logical, but when we spend money, it's actually an art. There's no fixed formula, there's no fixed answer on how we spend our money right. And we also got totally no right to judge how, the way people spend money is whether right or wrong. Agree? If you agree, type 4 in the chat. Okay? Because all of our experience, our background will be different. And the experience of happiness, when we use being it money to buy happiness or joy, can also be very different. It's just like the Lego subject. Okay, my brothers, they can really enjoy buying Lego and then sit there and fix the brick, right? And after they do it, they very happy on it. But for me, I cannot. Okay, right? I cannot. Right? I like to do things on a lot of movement. That gives me more excitement. That gives me more joy. Okay, right? It's just like I go to the gym. Okay, I like to go to the gym. I like to push myself until failure. Like that. I like all. That brings me joy. Okay, so different people, different thing. Okay, or some people even like to rear so-called pets, dogs, cats, but how many of you seen people that they like scared of cats and dogs or all those furry animals like hell? Okay, like when you say at mama, there's one cat passing by only, not getting near to him or her, right? They can go crazy. Why I know? My wife is one of them. Okay? I mean, like at the very beginning, I cannot understand, during Pak Tor time, I cannot understand why your reaction so big. It's just a cat passing by only. Okay. Then after that, I understand why. Okay. The background, the history, right, dealing with cats and dogs. Then now I understand. Okay. Right. Okay. So how we feel happy, how we feel sad, how we feel proud, different emotion, different feelings. It actually varies. Varies because of our different culture, our different background, different family upbringing, right? From person to person. Very different. Okay. So this particular book, even though the chapters are talking about the same subject, but when you use it and apply it on your own, right? The so-called aha moment can be very different from even the person sleeping next to you. Okay, right? Now, let's look into this particular topic, okay, where I think a lot of us in our community always face this issue, okay, which is your gains on the stocks or ETF or options that you have invested. Okay, now how many of you already experiencing or experienced before that certain of your investment already become a multi-bagger? Not necessarily 1000%, right? It can be 200%, 400%, 600%, multi-bagger, multiple fold already. If that's yes, give me a good in the chat. Okay? But how many of you run into the situation where you are looking at few thousand percent of gain and you are not willing to sell? If that's you, type me in the chat. Like, let's be honest. Especially our mentee are very 可爱 one, very cute one. Okay. During our one-to-one session, you say, hey, this one already 1000%. 30% of your portfolio you don't want to sell. Why you don't want to sell? Aiyah, when I sell already, later it go to 2000%, how? Wasted leh, 心疼 leh. How many of you like that? Okay. Now you see, after I read this book, I realized one thing. Okay. Why we get so fixated when we see the profit is already there and we are not willing to sell and take profit. Okay. A lot of times, you just reflect back. I mean, you think about it, right? Usually, when you have that very strong feeling of not willing to or okay, to sell away and take profit, usually, okay, or most of the time, that is your first multi-bagger. How many of you is like that? I mean, that's what your experience is. Type 1 in the chat. I mean, like you invest for so many years, first time seeing multi-bagger, wow, I invest so many times, I only see 50, 60%. Then I sell away already. Okay. Or it's either 50, 60% I sell away, or the company is losing 50, 60%, I leave it there. Okay. You never got a chance to see 100, 200, even 1000%. Now, if your first time experience this, you have never ever have the past experience of seeing multi-bagger returns, you're afraid more about missing out more gains after selling. I repeat again, if it's your first time, if you've never seen this happening before, the more afraid you are to sell away, take profit, because you're afraid of missing out more gains after you're selling it. If you agree, type 2 in the chat. We've seen it a lot of times. I mean, a lot of our mentees are like that. Okay, right? But if we open up that mindset, right, and think about it, right now, I already made one of my investment a multi-bagger. With the skill set that I have, I'm able to make the second, the third, the fourth, and countless multi-baggers. Okay? You're gonna make another 1,000%. You're gonna make another 2,000%, but from another company. Does that make you better in terms of more willing to actually sell this company particular right now and take certain profit off the table? I'm not asking you to sell everything. Okay, but when there's gains already, being it for risk management, portfolio management, sell a bit, take profit. How many of you understand what I'm talking about? If you understand type 3 ratio. If you have been there, you have done that before, it actually makes more sense for you to take profit, recycle capital, reduce your risk, because you know after you've done it, okay, after you sell it for profit, the next round, you're still able to find the next one and you make continue to make multi-baggers. Okay, when you have the confidence, when you have the mindset in place, you won't be holding on to paper gains. Okay, and get too emotionally attached to them. Okay, so far, how's the sharing? I mean, is the sharing helpful? If the sharing helpful, give me a love in the chat. Let me know. Okay, right? Thank you. Right, now, what really matters in our life? I mean, this is something that we always have to ask ourselves also. Where really, is it making money, saving, investing is the ultimate goal? Right? Okay. Or when we spend certain amount of money or when we make certain amount of money, do we want to actually, how do you want to use it? Right? Okay. And how many of you really want to be successful, being it in life, in your investment, in your career, in your family? If that's yes, type yes in the chat. Okay. Right. So when we talk about money, right, we can actually use it to leverage it. I mean, as a tool to help us become who we truly are. Meaning to say, for example, I'm now a coach, I'm now a mentor. Okay. How do I actually use money to help me to become a better coach, better mentor, better father, better spouse? Okay, because that's what truly means to me. Right? In terms of what's the intangible value that I'm able to bring in, okay, by leveraging this tool. Okay, instead of using this tool, right, to turn into someone that other people expect me to be. Okay, so these two particular sentences, right, you can actually go and digest, right, and you can start to observe, right. Sometimes we fall under the lower category, yes or no? Right, like the earlier question that I asked, right? Sometimes we, without intention, we fall under that because that's what the society has shaped us to be. Okay, but when we able to be aware, we able to utilize it better as a leverage to become who we truly are, where we can actually churn more value for the people that we care, the people that we love, the people that really value us, treasure us, and admire us. Admire in the sense that they admire what we are able to provide as value. How many of you agree? If you agree, give me a yes in the chat. Okay, but a lot of times we will, fall into the second category, right? And a lot of people actually want to be successful. When they see successful people, they really admire. But a lot of time, when they admire successful people, but they do not want to know how these successful people actually made it, how they made it. Give you an example. A lot of time, a lot of our mentees actually so-called tell us, saying that, wow, Jerome, Alex, Richie, how good that if I can become like three of you. Okay, you can choose when to work, where to work, who to work with, right? And then investment also doing good, able to have mentees, able to have students following you. But how many of you or how many of those people actually truly ask what we have gone through in order for us to be where we are right now. Okay. Of course, three of us have different stories. What we have been through can be similar, and there are places where different. The suffers that we've been through also different. But if you're able to understand what are the suffering that we have been through, then you probably do not want to be like us anymore. How many of you understand what I'm saying? If you understand what I'm saying, give me a 5. A lot of people, when they look at surface, they want to be like this person. But after understanding how this person came from until here, and we re-ask that question again, do we still want to be this person? High chances the answer will be no. Okay? Same works the other way around. Okay? People might want to become like you. Okay? But I don't think they want to go through what you have gone through. Okay? Right? And let's be honest, why I say a lot of time we will unintentionally fall under the lower category. Because human naturally likes to have attention. How many of you agree? If you agree, type 666 in the chat. In any form, okay? It can be attention from you being observed, someone notice you, right? Or you being attended nicely, okay? Or you being taken notice, someone notice you, okay? Sympathize, love, and care. Actually, all of us are. Okay? I mean, I mean first, me personally, I like attention. Okay? But what kind of attention? So after going through this book, right, I rethink about myself, right, what kind of attention that I want to have. Okay? And I notice the mind can shift from getting exterior attention into interior attention. Where what I mean by interior attention is that when they notice me, or when people notice me, when people admire, or when people like to come to me, is because what I got to offer. The values that I have, the experience that I can share, right? The stories that are able to inspire, right? These are the attentions that I like. Okay? Instead of exterior. Okay? And it's totally fine, right? Where we can use money for attention, being it exterior or interior. But in this book itself, the author actually want to emphasize, we can actually use money as a tool to gain attention, but tilt towards the inner attention. Okay, because we don't want to fall in a situation where the only way of catching attention, okay, is through the exterior attention. If you know what I mean, type 7 in the chat. Okay, because you want to gain attention, you want to gain respect, you want to gain admiration, it's actually through the inner instead of outer, because from inner it's more durable. Okay, right? You're spending money for the exterior, it can be fast, it can be quick, it can be very eye-catchy because other people don't have, you have it. Okay, you catch eyeball fast, but when that happens, it actually lasts for a very short period of time. Okay, people won't want to really look into you, understand you more. Like for example, one sports car just passed by, and you actually look back, right, and see, wow, nice car. But you probably don't want to know who is actually driving that car. Okay, right? And beware one thing, author actually remind in terms of when you are actually gaining a lot of exterior attention and people start to admire because of that, that easily can turn into envy, jealousy. Okay? And when that happens, okay, the people's tolerance on your error, something that you do probably mistake, okay, even though it's very, very small, the tolerance for it, okay, will be very, very low because the expectation has already set very, very high. Okay, so the author in the book itself, he actually used this word to so-called bring out this message where for us, we want to show off the inside of our house, not the outside of our house. Your house can be big, can be small, right? But what's more important is the inside of the house. Your family, your spouse, your children, your parents. That's what more important. If you agree, type 8 in the chat. Show people that, right? That you have a good spouse, right? Loving children, right? Your respectable parents. Okay? That's inside your house, not the exterior. Okay, right? So gaining attention through external, it can be quick, but less durable and least effective. Okay. So through all those flashy things, is totally fine, right? It is not something that is wrong. Okay. People go for luxury watches, bags, good cars. It can be for the interior, it can be for the exterior. But exterior usually is quick, less durable, least effective. It's just like having junk food. Okay, it provides you instant happiness, okay, but it is not long lasting. Okay, right? Yeah. But instead of that, when you use all these things, okay, that you buy, which able to benefit the people that you care about, your friends, your family, your partners, okay, right, or your so-called students. For example, okay, you buy a very high-tech camera, okay, where if you buy this high-tech camera, not because of wanting to show that, hey, you have a very good photography skill, but you want to have a very good camera so that you're able to record down every single moment, every single minute or second of your friends and family gathering together, laughters. You want to so-called make the time freeze, the memorable time freeze. So the money that you spend on that new fancy camera, that becomes more valuable. Okay, right? Yeah. And Warren Buffett once said this. Okay, if you get to a point in life, okay, where your names become bigger than anything that you can buy, okay, that's your true value. Which means regardless of whether you have big house, big car, nice watches, but people remember you because of you. Okay, when your name is bigger than anything that you can buy, your yacht, your private island, but people remember you not because of your private island, not because of yacht, but the value that you're able to give. Okay, that's the ultimate goal that we're going to achieve. How many of you find this powerful? You'll find this powerful, type powerful in the chat. Okay, so this actually helps us to actually keep our priority in check. Right? The moment we spend money, right, we think very deeply whether this will actually help us become a better self, benefit the people around us, okay, rather than spending on exterior stuff. Okay, right? Yeah. So he also mentioned where the ultimate so-called success in life from Warren Buffett, he mentioned the ultimate success in life is where you come to a certain point in your life, right? You define your success by how many people that you love wants to love you, do really loves you. I say again, you want to come to your life where you want to define success in terms of how many people that you love. You want them to love you, and they really love you. Okay, because there are a lot of scenarios out there where they have a lot of money, but the people that they love hates them. Heard stories like that before? Or probably you have similar encounterment near you. Okay. Do you think that person, I mean, will just leave the so-called leave the earth with no regret? What do you think? Will you want to be that person that is very, very rich? You got a lot of money, but the people that you love don't love you. That one have to ask him himself lah. Right? Okay. Yeah. So I mean, what is the most ultimate important thing in our life? Right? Which money can actually help us to leverage that and make it happen, make it better. Okay. And let me share with you one story. Okay. So there's this businessman was having his vacation on his private yacht in the middle of the ocean. And then he came across this fisherman on his small, tiny fishing boat. Okay. And then when they were talking, right, this businessman was shocked in terms of, hey, how come you're able to be so chill? How many hours that you need to work in a day? Okay. Right. And then the fisherman said, oh, I only do 3 to 4 hours fishing in a day. Okay, then that's all. My job done for the day already. Then the businessman very curious. He said, hey, then what do you do for the rest of your day then? Right? Then the fisherman very chill. I said, oh, like that. I usually sleep late. Okay, I wake up late. I go out to the sea whenever the weather permits and whenever I like it. Right? And then after fishing, I hang out with my friends. And then sometimes I play guitar, which is my hobby. Okay. And sometimes when I come back from fishing, I got time, I take a nap lah, as long as I want. Okay. Then the businessman said, Ayo, like that ah? Then you're doing it all wrong eh. But I got a suggestion. The businessman said, okay. So you should actually work more. You work whole day, okay? Make more money. You go and borrow more money. You buy more fishing boat. Okay. After you buy fishing boat, you hire more fishermen to fish for you. Okay, so that you can retire early just like me. Right? Then the fisherman asked him back, then what should I do after I retire? Okay. Then the businessman said, oh, after you retire, you can sleep late, wake up whenever you want, you hang out with your friends whenever you want, you take a nap whenever you want. Then the fisherman looked at him. So what do we learn from this story? Isn't that the fisherman is already doing what the businessman is picturing of retirement life? Yes or no? So a lot of time, right? We already have what we need, and we already have what is enough. But because of other people say, hey, you should achieve this, you should have this, right? At this point of time, at this age, you should have this, that. How many of you agree? And a lot of time, a lot of people, without realizing it, they just chase this. They're just gonna chase like headless chicken. Okay. So this one, I mean, this point also give me a big hit in terms of I really go into deep thought, right? In terms of, hey, do I really need to, make as much as I think I should? Okay, right? Because a lot of time, how do we define wealth? Share with me, how do you define wealth? Celine, very good, huh? So how do you define wealth? Share with me. What is wealth to you? Health, very good. Peace of mind, okay. More choices, very good. What else? Freedom, okay. Stable, good relationship, right? Independence, family. Thank you very much. Okay. And a lot of time, all this we do not need really lah. I mean, we do not really need a lot of money. But of course, when we have a lot of money, this will be even better. True lah. Okay. But in this book itself, it mentioned wealth is actually as simple as what you have minus off what you want. Okay, right? So how wealthy you are or I am, it depends on how big or small the gap between what I have and what I want. So if what I have is here and what I want is here, the gap, okay? If the gap is narrower, okay, which means the difference between two of these is smaller, the wealthier you are. The narrower the gap, the wealthier we are. Okay, right? So a lot of times, we have a lot of this, correct? Okay, we always think that we want more, so that we can be healthy, wealthy. Okay, but without realizing, when we adjust this, we can achieve good wealth easily. Okay, right? And at the very beginning, we'll talk about whether money can buy happiness or not. Okay, but let's us first define what is happiness. Okay, right? So happiness is actually the contrast between what I have right now versus what I was just experiencing. Okay, right? Give you a few examples. Okay, I'm happy when I have the best drink of my life. And that best drink is just a cup of plain water when I was just very, very, very thirsty. I was thirsty for the whole day, right? After the whole day of thirst, I have one good glass of plain water. That's happiness. Okay? Or I can have the best zap fan or the best lunch in the world after I've starved for a whole day. And one more, which if you have kids, you're able to easily relate. The best sleep ever. The best sleep ever is when your baby allow you to take a quick nap quietly. How many of you can relate what I'm saying? Especially you ask the mummies. Best sleep ever if my baby don't just suddenly cry in the middle of my nap. Best ever. Okay, right? So what it means here is always about the contrast. Okay, it's always about the contrast. The gap, again, is the gap. It's a spectrum, right? Between what is being expected and what the reality is. Okay, right? How many of you heard about this where when you have high expectation, you tend to have high disappointment? You 期望越大，失望越大 is not. Okay, right? So when we expect everything, right, nothing will actually make us happy. But when we expect nothing, anything can be a surprise. 我讲的意思啊 when we expect everything, okay, nothing will be special. Okay, we won't be happy at all. But if we expect nothing, anything can be a surprise. How many of you agree? If you agree, type 6 in the chat. It's like when you expect no returns on a certain investment, whenever you get, even though it's 10% gain, there's always a bonus. There's always a surprise. That actually makes you happy. As simple as that. Okay. Of course, it's easier said than done. I totally understand. Okay, but we need to train ourselves. Okay, right? Yeah. So a good life is everything that you need plus some of what you want. Okay, the author is not asking us to remove all the wants, to remove all the desire. No. Okay, we need to have desire to move forward, to have the drive. Okay, so everything when you need plus certain things that you want, it becomes a good life. Okay, right? And if you have everything you want already, you won't appreciate anything. Okay, right? Now, how to actually find happiness? Yeah, Hongwei, correct. Okay, so how to actually find happiness? Okay, it can be from different aspect lah. Okay, travel the world, having good food, having a good bike or car, right? Or reading. Okay, so I'm not sure how many of you don't enjoy reading. You don't find happiness when you read. Type 0. How many of you find happiness when you read? Type 1. Yeah, you see, there will be people find happiness after reading. Because if you really able to find happiness through reading, it is how to say? Now, before this, me personally, before this, I do not like to read. Okay, but because of the people that I get together with, the environment that I get to know after learning investing, okay, I start to enjoy more and more of reading. And then reading does not necessarily has to be, you now probably a lot of us when we don't find happiness in reading, probably because we haven't find the certain genre, the certain topic, or the certain kind of books or certain kind of materials that let us enjoy that process. Which means we haven't tried enough various different types of material, books, or anything that able to bring us that happiness, that feeling. Okay, but if you go through different types of books, okay, you're able to find one, that's where you're able to find happiness as well. Okay, right? Yeah. So we experience as many types of spending as you're able to. Okay, but of course you don't go on credit, don't go on loan, don't go on your credit card to try all the spending. Within your means, try as much type of spending. It can be traveling, it can be good food, it can be exercises, it can be different experience, so-called bungee jumping, okay, skydiving. Go and test it out, because if you don't test, you don't know which one gives you joy, which one gives you happiness, and you immediately stop after you try certain new things already. After you do it, you really cannot find joy. Like, wow, it's just like the 超精. I really cannot. Okay, then I stop it. Okay, I can accompany my wife, but I won't do that. Okay, right? So if you immediately stop after you don't find joy, you stop spending money on it, then you will have more money to spend on the things that bring you joy. And focus on that. Okay, invest on that, because that brings you the most value. Okay, right? People might say, hey, if I try different spending, then I'm gonna go broke. How? Right? Because if you're able to have the very so-called tight criteria, and you are very clear in terms of after you do this, you don't find joy at all. stop it immediately. Even though it's on subscription, even though it's on, so-called package, stop it immediately. Then you channel the resources into something that you're able to find joy. Okay, right? It can be your gym session. If you don't find joy, stop it. Why force yourself? You go and look for other sports that are able to bring you joy. It can be yoga, it can be Pilates. Like my wife right now into Pilates, like a lot. Okay, but if I ask her to go to gym, lift weights, she cannot. Okay, she gonna kill me. Okay, then I spend my money on gym, on my PT. I spend money for her to go for Pilates, yoga, all this. Okay, because that brings us joy respectively. Right? So I don't throw money for her to come to gym, no point. Okay, we only have suffer, no joy. Okay, right? So in order to help us, right, to have this so-called clear structure, is that we need to have a wide funnel in terms of our spending, where we go and try different things. Okay, but we need to have a very tight or very stringent filter in terms of what really brings us joy. Okay, it can be, how many of you got friends like they're really into bikes, all those big bikes, okay, and they can spend thousands and thousands of dollars, go for road trips, modification, all that. When I was in oil and gas, a lot of my friends are like that, but I don't find joy. I find, wow, you go for a road trip, no aircon, hot sun, sweating, I don't like. Okay, but they find joy there, so they spend money there, totally fine, right? So wide funnel, but you really have to be very clear in terms of what really brings you joy, what is not. Okay, and the author also mentioned and highlight in the book where happiness is just layer 1. Okay, happiness is just layer 1, because happiness, it can happen fast and then it dissipate fast also. It's just like a joke. Okay, when you hear a new joke and you find it funny, you laugh for probably 30 seconds. After 1 minute, if I tell you the same joke, you probably laugh for 10 seconds. The third time, if I tell you the same joke again, you probably want to slap me already. You get what I mean? So happiness is just very short while only. Okay, but what we really find ultimately at the end of the happiness is this word called contentment. Containment means, I'll give you a scenario. After you do that thing, you have a feeling like, oh, this is it, and I just want to do this, and I forget about the work. How many of you understand what I'm saying? If you understand what I'm saying, give me a C in the chat. Containment. It's like, this is enough. Okay, and you really just want to do this. Okay, and if you're able to find that, that is your thing. And continue to do that. Okay, it's just like how my wife found Pilates, aerial yoga is her thing. She loves it. Okay, and right now, if if my house able to fit the equipment, she probably will have it in our place already. Okay, find your thing. Okay, they're able to let you do that, immerse in that, and forget about the work. Okay, that really brings you joy. That really brings you happiness. Okay, but we have to test, and then only able to find that thing. Okay, right? Now, another thing is that when we so-called growing with our so-called emotion of managing happiness, when we use that and imply in investing perspective, okay, right? How many of you got the experience of when your portfolio grow from 10,000 to 100,000? You feel really, really happy. Okay? Or compared to when your portfolio already have $1 million, grow to $1.09 million. Listen up, 10,000 to 100,000, how many thousand of increment? How many thousand of gains? From 10,000, grow to 100,000. 90,000, right? Okay. The other scenario is your portfolio grow from 1 million to 1.09 million, which is the same 90,000 increment. Which one you feel happier? The first one, right? 10,000 to 100,000. When you look at 1 million to 1.09 million, what is that? And I'm not lying to you. I mean, when we talk to our mentee, it's like that one. Right? Hey, Richie, Chenong, Alex, I think this year I'm not making a lot of money. Right? My portfolio grew from 1 million to 1.9 million. Like nothing. Okay. So it's about, again, the contrast, correct? Why do you think people grow from 10,000 to 100,000? In fact, mentees, they're able to grow from 10,000 to 100,000. I don't know. I personally feel they are more happy. They are more willing to share their joy with us. Okay. They are more, I mean, they really appreciate to see their portfolio grow from 10,000 to 100,000. Okay. But I'm not saying, don't get me wrong, mentees, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that those grow from 1 million to 1.09 million, they are not appreciative. No. It's just that the feeling, the enthusiasm, okay, or the joy, we feel more from those that fall under the first category. Okay, because the contrast is bigger. When you have bigger contrast, it is more powerful. Okay, right? Now, the next topic that the author actually so-called share in the book itself is called quiet compounding. Okay, right? When you are investing, you probably know what is compounding effect, okay, which is the eighth wonder of the world. Now, quiet compounding can be segregated into internal and external benchmark. Okay, same thing. Internal all happens here, within here. Okay, external is everything on the surface. Right? So when quiet compounding happen, you will ask yourself, right? If it's from the internal, you ask, hey, would I be happy and fulfilled with the outcome based on what I do or what action that I do right now, even though no one able to see it? Okay, right? Your neighbor's not gonna see it, your friends not gonna see it, your colleagues not gonna see it, your boss not gonna see it. After you do that, will you be really happy and feel fulfillment? Okay, or you feel that, hey, how am I going to do better compared to other people? Okay, so a lot of time we fall under the focus of the external rather than the internal. Okay, because when we able to focus in back to the internal benchmark, okay, we will naturally easier to find happiness, find joy when we spending that money. Okay, right? Because the only success that you're able to achieve is to spend your life and to spend your money the way you want it. Okay, and a lot of people cannot come out from this social comparison game. Okay, for example, you buy a new car. The moment you drive out from the showroom, next you see another better car passing by, and you say, That's the next car that I want to get. Okay, so a lot of people cannot come out from this. Okay, but it's hard. It's very difficult to come out from that. Okay, and the author actually acknowledged that. Okay, but the best way to actually win the game is to stop playing. Okay, if you don't participate in that game, you are already winning. If you understand what he implies to say, type win in the chat. You just don't go in. Focus on the internal. Okay? Right? And he mentioned when we're able to achieve wealth quickly, usually it's a very fragile wealth. Okay? Quick wealth equals to fragile wealth. It's not sustainable. And the cost, I mean the emotional cost of spending that money when your wealth comes quick, it becomes very low. You got no emotion attached to it when you're spending that money. For example, if you kena lottery, okay, right, you probably spend that money, just like cry. Okay, and then high chances, quick wealth always comes from luck. And you know, luck is not sustainable. It's not repeatable. Okay, right? So for him, right, he mentioned actually the fastest way to get rich, the fastest way to get wealthy, guess what? It's actually to go slow. Because when we go slow, we don't have the pressure to perform. We don't have the pressure to need for or the need to prove ourselves. Okay, we're able to focus on creating better life rather than gaining attention. Okay, and we're able to establish our own financial endurance. Endurance means you're able to be in the game for the long run. Being it crisis, being it so-called emergency cases, being it anything that can happen that jeopardize your financial plan, you can be more durable, okay, in this process itself. Okay, right? Because when you want to gain attention, okay, especially the external attention, it can happen fast and speed gets all the attention. Now, how many of you agree that if someone around you, when they do investment, being it stocks, being it option, being it crypto, when they're able to achieve like few $100,000, few probably $1 million of portfolio within a short period of time, it actually catch your attention. If not you, but the people around you also. People start to ask, hey, how you make it? Can you show me how you make $1 million in just 4 months? Speed gets all the attention. But when you go slow, you get all the power of control, the power of decision, okay, the power of making choices, the power of having the freedom. If you agree, type 6 in the chat. And what's more valuable is actually the power of all this. Okay, right? So this is quiet compounding. And another topic that they mentioned about quiet compounding is that the things that we spend, especially for the internal benchmark, even though joy, happiness, fulfillment is not tangible, it's intangible, correct? Okay, so all these intangible feelings, emotions, memories can also compound over time. Which means if right now, when you spend, the decision that you make to spend that money, able to bring this intangible value, this intangible value able to compound over time. Give an example. How many of you got an experience where when you flash back of good memories, you're thinking of, wow, how good I can travel back in time and experience that again. If you have that experience before, type me in the chat. That's the compounding effect of good intangible value. Okay, which money cannot buy. But what you can do is you decide now to create that intangible value for the future. Okay, so whenever we want to make decision now, we make sure that able to be compounded, okay, for the years to come. If you understand what I'm saying, give me an okay in the chat. Okay, right? Now, let me see. Okay. So we got actually 2 more topics. Okay, which actually there are a lot of topics in the book that I wish to cover, but I cannot cover everything. Okay, but I pick the topics that I cover throughout. Okay, are the topics that are able to closely relate to us and also our investing journey as well. Okay, so in this book itself, one of the chapter they mentioned the greed and fear life cycle. Okay, it can be applied in investing, it can be applied with us dealing with money. Okay, how the greed and fear cycle forms. Okay, so when we spend money, usually we require optimism. What does it mean? Is that before you decide to spend this money, generally, naturally, you think that the future is bright. For example, your income now is stable, your investment is making money. Okay, you tend to spend that money when you are more certain. You have optimism, then it drives you to spend money. Agree? If you agree, type 1. Saving money is the opposite. Saving money requires pessimism, which means if right now you are financially tight, your job is at stake, uncertain, you're not sure whether next month you will have income or not, you tend to save rather than spend. Agree? If you agree, type 2. During that time, you are having more pessimism than optimism. Then you tend to save rather than spend. Okay, right? And all the greed actually begin with the very simple idea, which is, I deserve to be right. Okay, listen, it's similar like how we invest a company. You put a lot of effort, you put a lot of time, you invest a lot of energy, study a company, and you invest in it, and you think this deserves to be a good investment. How many of you agree? If you agree, type 3. Wow, I study so hard. I do evaluation, I calculate until my brain want to explode already. Now undervalue, I buy. Okay, and I expect this company to make money for me. Okay, so that's the so-called blind spot. Okay, of you, being it investment or any other financial decisions. You put a lot of effort into it already, right? You tend to have this biasness in terms of, I deserve to be right. And when you are right, you get rewarded. The share price goes up already. You make money already. Okay? And when that reward happens, which on the basis of you deserve to be right, and now you're right, you get rewarded, you tend to seek for more of it. Which means, I want to find the next company to make more money already. Okay? And that will actually translate you to perform that action even more, which means you extrapolate the action with more optimism, with enthusiasm based on what have worked before. You use the same method. I'm going to find the next company. I study. I find the valuation. I invest in it. I expect to make more money. Okay? But a lot of times, when we are falling under this situation, we are not considering in terms of sustainability really. We didn't really question ourselves whether what has worked before, will it work right now again? So a lot of times we overestimate the influence of our action on the outcome, which means when your stock make money, you will think that it's because the hard work that I've put in, the research that I've put in, the valuation that I've calculated, so that I make money, so that the share price goes up. And we think that this action, the effort that we put in, leads to this outcome, leads to this result. And you expect when you do the same thing, you're going to achieve the same result or even better result again. That's where your greed starts to grow already. How many of you understand? If you understand, type greed in the chat. So what this able to help us is that whenever we start to think like that, act like that in our investment, we better be careful. When you notice, you start to, hey, I'm going to use the same method to find the next company, make more money. High chances the greed already kick in. Okay? And when does the fear start? It starts when the things that have worked before suddenly don't work anymore. Which means previously made you a lot of money. You use the same method, same research, same analysis, same valuation method. You find the next company and that money lose money. That company lose money. It's not a good. It's not a good company. That's where your fear, your uncertainty happen. Okay, and when fear kicks in, you start to do silly decision. Your emotion take over already. Okay, right? And the next one is a lot of us hear a lot. Some of us experience that before. Me personally also experienced that before. But right now, we're able to control it more and more and be more aware, which is FOMO. Like, how many of you FOMO before? Type FOMO in the chat. Okay, including me, myself. Okay, FOMO means what? When you see other people can do it, oh, I can do it also. Okay, FOMO is actually defined as recklessness masked as an ambition. You're actually very reckless, but you think that is ambition. Is an ambitious thing to do. Hey, other people can do it, I also can do it. Okay, that's FOMO. Okay, instead of afraid missing out something, but it's more like you want to prove yourself in terms of other people can do it, I can do it. And Charlie Munger, late Charlie Munger, he said this: there's always someone in the market out there, probably next to you, will get richer faster than us. Okay, but if we have the idea of caring about that, where other people make more money faster than me, when we start to have that idea, when we start to think about it, okay, it's very, very dangerous already. Okay, because that person's financial goal, is that gonna help us directly or indirectly? Especially people that you do not know. Even though it's your friend, even though your friend in your so-called mastermind group, when they make money more than you, faster than you, will they share the profit with you? What do you guys think? Or in another words, in the other way around, like if you make money faster than them, will you share the profit with them? No, right? Okay. And probably the financial goal of all of us will be very, very different. Some 500,000 is enough. Some people 5 million only enough. Okay. Some people need to go 50 million. Financial goals different. So we only need to care about our own financial goal. Because how far other people go will not make any difference to us. Okay. And we always think long term, avoid bubble. Okay. And we actually do not need to do much over time. Okay. Right? The mindset is more important. Be aware of what we think, right? How we feel at any point of time. And last but not least, wealth can also equals to poverty. Everyone type in the chat, OMG. Then why do we pursue wealth? Why we want to build wealth? But the catch is this, when we build wealth without independence, then it's as good as poverty. Which means when you create a lot of wealth, you make a lot of money, but you don't have independence, you don't have freedom to choose, to decide, to spend your money, is actually as poverty. 就你穷到只剩下钱。I believe Chong mentioned this many times, right? 因为我们只穷到剩下钱，我们没有其他的选择啊。Right? It's actually the same as a guy that do not have any penny. Okay? So the entire essence of this particular book is that whatever that we do, whatever that we plan, the decisions that we make, we always want to drive towards independence. Okay, and in this book itself, it actually lists out 15 levels of financial independence. You can go and search about it, right? 15 levels of financial independence. And you can actually cross-check in terms of where you are right now. Okay, right? And independence is actually a spectrum, it's a range, right? It's not 0 and 1. Okay, so the better spending decision that you make today, okay, it gives you more independence in the future. Okay, and independence is always the true rich. So that should be the ultimate goal. Okay, if you like that, type I in the chat, independence. I stands for independence. Okay, right? We drive ourselves towards that. Right? And regardless whether we are spending money or we are saving money. Okay, so this will be the second last slide idea, which I think very, very powerful. Okay, you can actually digest it later on, where you're spending that money versus saving money is always a form of purchase. You are buying something. When you're spending, you're buying tangible stuff. You're buying experiences. But if you're not spending, you save that money. Okay? Saving is actually a form of purchase for your future in terms of your freedom, okay, your life choices, right? A lot of things that you're able to decide and you have the power in hand. Okay, so $1 that you save today, you are buying $1 of independence for tomorrow or the future. So it doesn't matter how much we're able to save. Okay, because if you're able to save $10 today, you are buying $10 of future now. That's what it means. Okay, but of course, the author is not encouraging us to go to the extreme where we only save but don't spend. Okay, because you don't want to find yourself at a life stage where you have a lot of money, but you miss out a lot of good experiences, miss out a lot of opportunity to create memories with your loved one, that people important to you. Okay, but when we spend that money, make sure we create that, okay, and let that intangible so-called value compound over time. Okay, not just our investment compound, but the intangible value that we already spent our money on, okay, compound as well. So you get best of both worlds. Okay, at the end you get money, you get good companions, you got good relationship, you got good memories, your life will be good. Okay, right? So far so good? If so far so good, give me a good in the chat. Right? And the last slide that I'd like to share with you is that in this book itself, they cover a lot of things, a lot of stories, a lot of different examples, okay? But the important points that we should take home and start practicing and do reflection, okay, and act on it is we always spend less than what we earn, okay, and let money serve us, not the other way around. We quietly compound, being it the money for investment or the intangible value, okay, for the future. And always remember, no one is thinking about us as much as we are. Okay, being it we having a big house, nice car, right? Good looking bag, probably people don't care apart from us. Okay, so focus on us, ourselves, okay, and the people around us. Independence is always wealth. Health is wealth. Okay, and last but not least, love the people that you want them to love you as well. Okay, right? So with that, close to 1 hour and 40 minutes of sharing, okay, which I cover, I would say, the interesting points in this book, okay, which I find a lot of resonance, okay, sharing with you guys. And I strongly encourage you guys to grab one book and invest your time, okay, go through it, because a lot of insights are, okay, which you're able to really make your life better, okay, not only dealing with money, but your relationship, your life, your career as well. Okay, right? So hope you guys like the sharing for tonight. Okay, and that wraps up nicely for our Keep Reading year 2025. Okay, so thank you very much again for your attention earlier on. Okay, hope you like it. Right, and we will see you in our next program, and also next Monday, our market update. So don't forget to register. Okay, right. In the meantime, take good care of yourself, create good wealth, have good relationship, good companion. See you guys in our next program. Take good care. Good night and bye-bye.
Take it from me, sometimes it's better if you just leave. Drop that nigga that you don't need. If that man can't give you no peace, no, don't let him stress you out. No, don't let him bring you down. No, don't let him come back around. Stack your paper, get your weight up, tell a nigga see you later, boss up. Yeah. Go get your nails done, hair bust down. Go get that body in the gym right now and make him mad that he didn't. Stack your paper, get your weight up, tell a nigga see you later, boss up. Go get a bag, spend it on yourself. Get what you want, cause you're fine as hell. Let him play with someone. Stack your paper, get your weight up, tell a nigga see you later, boss up. You know so you can live without him. Hands up. If the pressure turn you to a diamond. I got so many on my body, keep them coming. No time for you turn, time to put me first. And I don't need a damn dime. No, kiss this ass goodbye. No, can't wait for him to act right. Stack your paper, get your weight up, tell a nigga see you later, boss up. Go get your nails done, hair bust down. Go get the body in the gym right now and make him mad that it didn't work. Stack your paper, get your weight up, tell a nigga see you later, boss up. Go get a bag, spend it on yourself. Get what you want, cause you're fine as hell. Let him play with someone. Stack your paper, get your weight up, tell a nigga see you later, boss up. Every move, move on, me level up. Me no ugly, it no hard for me find love. When you leave him, we say you can't fill the void, and you'll never find another
I like him, but that's the point. But when my gun phone a ring like alarm, me a queen not top on, no care if I met your mom. In the stop, me keep it moving like it's a routine. Cause the boy now lower my self-esteem. Boss up, go get your nails done, hair bust down. Go get the body in the gym right now. And make him mad that he didn't stack your paper, get your weight up, tell a nigga see you later, boss up. Go get a bag, spin it